Chapter 5. By Monday afternoon, D.I. Knapp hit pay dirt. Closing off the conference call he'd just undertaken with Dr. McLean, he proceeded to scroll through his email and download the files. He then sat and read the files once, then twice, and then again before making notes. He was meticulous in the process. As a nearby printer ran off a stream of pages, he called D.S. Mallory and D.C. Miller. Both stood attentively at the door. "We have an ID, boys," exclaimed Knapp. "Results just came in forensic. Dental records identify our Vic. Here, take a look." Both Mallory and Miller reviewed the pages. "Wow," said Mallory, to no one in particular. "Been missing 30 years. "Yes," said Knapp. "This kid went missing October 83. Last seen sitting on a tractor in a field near Whittlesea Mere. No tracks, no evidence of a struggle. Just appeared to have disappeared into thin air." "Until now," quipped Miller. "Exactly," replied Knapp. "But remember, most of his family are now in their graves. Unfortunately, father died in a car crash in 84. The mother more recently passed away. But we do still have a relative alive, so we need to meet them, talk through the situation, make them aware, and obviously get DNA. However, we're 99% certain this is our Vic." "Okay," said Miller. Knapp continued. "Okay, Miller, so me and you will visit today. Mallory, I want you to pull the missing persons file on this individual, fully appraise and get up to date. I then need an update from you later this evening. We need to review the investigating officer's reports and review witness statements. I've got to reopen the file on this case." Mallory nodded. First day back from his holes, and he knew it was going to be a long night's work. Knapp continued. "I should have NABIS analysis later today, so we'll share that and see where we're at. Hopefully that will turn up something as well." With that, Knapp beckoned Miller, and the two of them headed for the car park. My return home had gone better than expected. My sister Sally had met me at the door and hugged me tightly. I noticed a tear spilling on my jacket as she welcomed me home. It was a tight, welcoming hug. Olivia too was made welcome, and the both of us were met with other mourners. Pats on the back followed by nodding sympathies, and condolences went in hand. I handshook with my new brother-in-law, Pavel. I'd never met him. I knew he'd met, dated, and married my sister in the space of the last 2 years, but I hadn't been around. However, an hour into meeting him, I knew he was good for her. The little things he did whilst I was watching showed how much he cared for her. She deserved that. So many years being a single woman. In part spent looking after my mother. In other part dealing with her shyness. The alcohol flowed all afternoon. The farmhouse continued to be a buzz of music, and a mixture of idle chatter was the theme of the day. By 4 p.m, the darkness had taken over from daylight, and the day was ending. By this time I was sitting in the living room, glass of cold beer in hand, listening to my Uncle David moan about the price of pesticides, and as always how the EU were killing the farming business through lack of subsidy support. The guy hadn't changed at all, still vocal in his opinions, still ruddy-faced complexion, only it was burning brighter today as the amounts of alcohol consumed in him increased. Normally I know he had been a wine drinker, or port, but today he seemed to be knocking back the scotch like it was going out of fashion. Slurring in his last rampage, I turned to look at Olivia, sitting across from me. She smiled. I liked her smile. Dressed all in black, I noticed the curve of her breasts as the Karen dress stretched as she reached for another drink. The girl definitely looked good, fit and lithe. She was still a good-looking woman, even in her 40s. Thankfully, I was interrupted from such thoughts as my sister stepped into the room, but then I looked up and saw her sheepishly looking at me. 2 men closely followed behind her, one mid-height, bald-headed and looking like a scruff, the other much younger, but smartly dressed in a busy suit. He appeared to have a fresh-faced eagerness about him. "Jack," said my sister, "these 2 men want to have a chat." The words hung in the air. The conversation in the room stopped. Uncle David slightly slumped back in the large leather sofa and looked up. Olivia watched as the 2 men approached. The bald-headed one spoke with a firmness that I'd witnessed from other officers before. I noted his steely blue eyes, sharp, alert, unlike his suit. Both men produced their police warrant cards. D.I. Knapp and D.C. Miller. My condolences for your loss, sir, but I need to have a chat. His eyes fixed at me. Tensing, I spoke. What's this about? But Knapp turned away slightly from me and looked at Olivia. It's actually Miss Bell we need to speak to. In private, please. Olivia looked a little startled. Why? She weakly replied. I could tell the drink was already kicking in. Knapp knew there was no easy way to crack open the conversation, so he decided to go straight at it. Miss Bell, I need to inform you we found your brother, Tom. Instantly I held Olivia as she shrieked and fainted in my outstretched arms.